Hey guys, got a little thought that I think I should share, which has helped me a lot, which is that biography is not destiny. I heard this when I was in my early 20s, and it said something like, what has happened to you does not determine how your life will turn out, which is very different from modern psychology. And I think later on I read Alfred Adler's philosophy, which is that you pretty much decide at any moment who you are. So what I mean by that is this. A lot of people grow up broke. They grow up poor because their parents have bad habits, or they just are born in a family where there's generational poverty. And I'm talking financially here, of course. And they blame that for why they're broke, right? I never was taught how to do this. I never had the opportunities to succeed, and I was surrounded by alcoholism. I was surrounded by drugs and abuse, and those are all very true. Those are all very true and very unfortunate things. And in all transparency, that was some of my life. My childhood was some of those things. I'm not going to specify, but there's some of those things that were in my childhood as well, and it was very difficult for me as a child. And at the time, when you're growing up, you don't know what's normal. What you think is normal is what you have in front of you, and I thought that was normal, having some of those things in your life. And but as I got older, I always thought that there were people that were doing better. I always believed, I'm not sure why, I credit a lot of my philosophy on life to God, to religion, to having faith. But even if you don't have that, because I know people that are not religious per se that are doing very well, that have still come to the same conclusion, and that's this. You see successful people, and then you see unsuccessful people, and both of them have pretty much similar poverty, right? One person becomes rich because of their poverty, and one person stays poor because of their poverty. I think this is very, very interesting, guys, if you understand this. You grew up poor, and that's why you're poor. Other people grew up poor, and that's why they're rich. You either learn from it, or you either let it control you. I think it was someone else that said, the hero and the villain have the same biography. They have the same story. The hero says, or rather the villain says, the world hurt me, so I'm going to hurt it back. And the hero says, the world hurt me, I'm going to make sure that it doesn't hurt anyone else. It's not what happened to you that determines your future. It's what you decide what it means. What you decide what you're going to do with it. I grew up poor. I don't want to ever be poor again. I saw a lot of inefficiencies, for the better lack of word, right? I saw a lot of waste. A waste of time, waste of talent. And I never want to see that again. I never want to not have being able to afford lunch again. I did that for the first 2-3 years of our career, from age 15 to 16, 17, 18. Initially we wouldn't eat lunch because we didn't want to waste any money, right? If you're making $15, $10 an hour, back then I was making like $7, I'm not going to blow an hour's worth of pay on lunch. I'm not doing that. So you learn from your upbringing, or you let it control you. It's up to you. If you grew up poor, why are you still poor? Why don't you go and make sure you don't ever see the same things happen in your life again, right? Another piece of wisdom that I've learned, and I think this was Wes Watson, because he says this a lot. He says, be the man that you needed when you were growing up. Be the man that you wish you had in your life guiding you when you were young. Don't be like, I didn't have so-and-so. Well, be that guy. Be that girl. Be that person that you wish you had in your life. The strong person. The disciplined person. The truthful person, no matter what. The person who could stand in a storm when everybody else ran. Be that freaking guy. You know what that looks like. You know who you needed growing up. Be the guy that didn't do drugs when everyone else around him. Be the guy that never drank alcohol. Be the guy that everybody else could rely on. Be the man that you needed in your life. And I promise you it'll solve 99% of your problems. You're still going to have the tragic things that happen in life, but as Jordan Peterson says, they will just remain tragic. You'll still have people getting sick, people dying, bad economic downturns happening, but those things will just remain tragic, because what happens is when you're an imbecile or a degenerate, you make tragedy and you turn it into outright hell. And we do a lot of that. We take a bad situation and we make it 10 times worse. Because when you mix a bad situation with bad character, it turns into 100 times worse, or 1,000 times worse. They say hell is a bottomless pit. You can make it infinitely worse. It just depends on how bad your character is. On the other hand, if you have an incredible discipline, character, faith, belief, discipline, you can take a really bad situation and at the worst it remains bad. At the best you can turn it into good. But at the worst it just remains bad. You don't add to it. Right? It's already bad. Someone's dying on someone's deathbed, and then everyone around them starts fighting. Right? That's you turn the tragedy into hell at that point. Don't do that. Don't do that. And I hope this helps. Right? You may have had bad things happen to you growing up. Well, let them remain bad, or even better, turn them into something. Turn them into a beautiful story that when people look back, they're going to say, all of those things happen, and despite that, this person is now a pillar of the community and a leader, and being able to have so many people rely on them. I would always say it's because of that, not despite that. All because of the way I grew up, I am who I am today. I'm grateful for those scars. And start thanking your scars, and I promise you'll find a lot of utility in your life. And honestly, a lot of gratitude as well. I hope that's helpful.